So again, let's say we're on a closed stance, right versus right. Generally speaking, I want my head either here, matching his head. I want to circle outside and get my head here so he can't rotate as easily. Or I want to get over here and put my head in here. And watch, change your lead leg, Phil. Oh wow, look, it's the same thing. His base just changed. Okay? But again, there's like some exceptions to this, where head position is like, people think you get head position. And again, I do this like whenever I go into a jiu-jitsu gym, I'm traveling or whatever, people fight super hard for head position. But then they do stuff like this. I'll like just give up head position, and I'll just put my wrist out here, and they grab it, and they're like, oh, I'm safe. Bang. So, why is it that this isn't very good? And what Thomas did earlier, buddy, that this is better. Do they look the same to you? Maybe. So let's talk about what the actual difference is. What does a frame do? A frame pushes. This is what I do with the kids. So I'm just standing there. How come I didn't push him? Because I'm not looking at him. If I look at him, well, yeah, I'm not touching him. And I'm not touching him because I'm not facing him. I'm not looking at him. I'm not looking at him. I'm not facing him. I can't push. Now, face him means your frame has to be looking. But if we're using our linear frames, this is where our head's looking. So there's a whole category of frames is just where am I looking? And generally when we're talking head frames, that's what we mean. So one concept that's talked about, make a lead leg, kill the lead edge. If I look toward his back edge,
you don't kill this lead edge.
He's winning. So look here, I'm going to put my head frame here, but look it. You see I'm looking toward his back edge, so if we pick his head up, you see how I glance off him? Now put your head down again. I'm going to just look toward his lead edge. Now pick your head up. You see how I don't glance off him?
And when Phil reaches for this wrist,
because what I'm doing here, come here, go this side, is when I go like this, I bait him to look toward there. So if I'm even in decent position, looking at his lead side, then I go, oh look, there's his arm. Oh, now lift your whole arm, lift everything up. I'm not looking into anything. So one game that we play to get this point across, we call creepy guy. One partner's going to be the creepy guy. They're going to make fists with their hands and put them on their. They're going to take their wrist. They're going to take their wrist and connect their wrist to their hips. They're not allowed to disconnect their wrists and their hips. People will do this. I don't like this because in a real wrestling situation, you're here. So we like to do this. That's why we play the game like that. His job. You see this circle right here? If it was higher up, it'd be like here. His job is to always be looking at my chest, and if he can, touch my chest with his head. My job is to keep him looking away from my head as much as possible. So when we play with this kid, a lot of times they do this in the beginning, and then he just moves. And then he's looking. And then they find out, oh, I have to connect. I'm going to push like this, do. And then I can use my own head to keep him from turning and things of that nature. And what you find out is that if I want to affect him, turns out we both end up being the creepy guy. He's trying to maintain that position. Creepy guy, because you don't want him to look at you. Yeah, he's looking at you, and it's uncomfortable. That's the idea of creepy guy. So that's one pretty good game. The next game we play is called ankle and knee tag, and we do a specific version where the tag only counts the sides, the insides, or the back, and also on the ankles.
Because you could hook there.
Because I could hook. Then the fronts do not count. And then what you find is we had two girls who were 7 years old. They're playing this game and they played it for 3 games.
Had one girl do a misdirection.
After the 3rd game, literally their stances are like this. We don't teach stance, they just do it. And then we'll scale that game up to, okay, instead of tagging, they have to just hook the leg in some way. Right? And that's going to teach them to put their arms in the way. And obviously, like, you have them play the game a bunch, and then you explain, hey, use your arms as frames, use your head, things of that nature. It's not super complicated once we understand, hey, it's just a frame. So we're just playing defensive games. You could do a game where instead of spoke attacking, one person is defending. When somebody's just defending, you generally have like, oh, we have this circle, you're not allowed to leave the circle. You have like a space restriction. Otherwise, they just run away, right? Now, with an adult, you might tell them, hey, you can't, quote unquote, run away, and they'll understand what you mean. Little kid, they don't care. And then another game that you could play is literally just a pushing game where I get whatever sort of tie I want, and my job is to push them out of a circle. What you're going to find is that they have to look at people to push. And I would make it so they have to change what sort of ties. Do ties with and without head position. See, look, I have head position. Because I don't have quote-unquote head position. But you see how I'm like looking at him? Again, this is just alignment of, am I aligned to the body? And the best people in freestyle at pushing people out on the edge and getting pressure forward are the Iranians. And the Iranians play primarily out of this underhook and this underhook here. Right here. If we're playing a game about pushing, I got you, you're done. So before we finish, I'm going to just show 2 or 3 situations where you would think the guy with head position is winning, but they aren't. One is with the collar tie. I collar tie, and I'm here, and I'm not letting him collar tie me back. Now, generally, most of the times, your most common positions where your head position is not good is because you're not looking at their front side. This one, I'm definitely looking at that lead side. You see how here, and as I go here, now he's not looking at it. So here I can pressure him and snap it and push it to the ground. And so what's happening there is just like, oh, I have head position, but it's like, do you really? And the do you really is, I have a frame on your shoulder, your head alone, I have my chest framing your head, and I have a hook. So what's happening is your head right here is getting crunched. And I might have this, but this is not hugely important. It's getting crunched here. So here, I'm like, I'm going to just let go of everything with this. Try and move around. You see how this frames on him, so it makes it so he can't come in? This allows a lot of pretty, here, lots of stuff. I can go here. So the other one, snaps, lots of good. The other one is our underhook. A lot of people really love this pulling underhook like this. And with this underhook, 100%, I gotta have head position. Because a pulling underhook, it's a linear underhook. With this underhook here, he might have head position, but he's like on the defensive side. It's very similar to that collar tie because he's got a solid frame with his chest. If he puts his head up at all, I can blast through. Now, if I bring my head up, oh look, now his shoulder and head come in. And so in order for him to fireman's me, he's got to get all the way from here to here and then fireman's me. Even if I'm like this. Otherwise, he's crowding the space too much. I can't. But if he circle up. Now it's there. It's not crowding the space. So if you've got a frame and a hook, so like that linear one, we'll show more Greco style where we're not using our head. So like if I've got like this on the side, we're doing it on the side so you can see. But this is generally what you see with like double underhooks. I'm framing with my rib and pulling. So I'm framing with my rib and then pulling. If I don't frame with my rib, he just overhooks me. If I frame with my rib, overhook me. So what's happening there is we have like a, I guess it's kind of like a clamp where there's a push and a pull. So it makes it so his movement is really restricted. So this underhook, there's a push and a pull, but a push and a pull, so it makes it so his head we're using that head frame against him. Remember, if my head frame is here, I have to remove it before I can change the distance. We're nailing him in so he can't move. And again, if I'm in this situation and I lose this here, it's okay. But let's say I lose this here and he can go behind me. Yeah, okay, like it's not good for me. So the other connections really matter, you know? But I would never do this connection if I thought, oh, him having the head means I'm just like, oh no, run away. I might misinterpret this position. I might not be able to recognize that this is actually a good position for me. Like, and by good, I mean that this is a stronger position for me than it is for him. I have more options, right? I've got to be able to recognize when I'm in a better position than him and when I'm in a worse position than him. But this position really relies upon, again, our alignment too. If he's here, he's got that in, and I'm like this, you see how I'm looking at him when my feet are like this? If I become square, notice how I'm not looking at him as much. That opens our Uchimata, or even worse, this. Not just come on top of me. There. Now, we can do that if we're going to do like throws, but when he's got his head in the way, doing like a throw, like a deep throw, isn't as good because that head's in the way. So again, it's not like he doesn't have head position. He has head position. We're just taking his head position and nullifying a lot of its effects, right? So again, the only time you don't, quote unquote, have head position is if I'm not looking at him. Generally, that's from looking at the backside, but look, I'm looking at him. Now I'm looking at him less. Now I'm really not looking at him. And that's why I like the games of creepy guy, because it teaches you to look at them. So again, there's a lot we can talk about. We can talk about making first contact and all that. We've probably already gone pretty long. So if you have any other questions, let us know, and we'll follow up.